Hello, friends and listeners. In today's episode, we are proud to present our guest, Mrs. Carrie Potter. She is a gifted and talented specialist at Dripping Springs ISD. She also teaches grades K through 5. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. She is also a Texas certified teacher with 16 years of teaching experience. Her Texas teaching certifications include early childhood education, reading, ESL, GT, and encompass levels pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. She believes that children learn by doing, hence offers a range of hands-on activities in the classrooms and incorporate the STEAM model into their daily learning environment. Her goal is to create lifelong learners who are equipped to face challenges head-on. Mrs. Potter, welcome. We're excited to have you on our show, Let's Talk Computer Science.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
That's an amazing resume. Wow, super impressive.
Thank you. It's hard to hear it out loud. It's like, I'm not used to hearing about myself.
So do you have kids?
I do. I have two children. I have a senior in high school he's 18 and he has just recently enlisted in the Marine Corps. And I have a 16-year-old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That just hit the road driving like yesterday.
So how are you? Are you doing okay?
I am. Yeah. Luckily, I have really good boys. My two children are just like model children, thankfully, most of the time.
Yeah, and with a role model like you, I'm sure everything has to go good. So why did you choose to become a teacher?
A couple reasons. One, going through public education, I had teachers that did it really well and that you remember and that you feel like you really learned from. And then I had some that I struggled with and maybe didn't do it as well as I thought they could. And so that kind of inspired me to do better. I've always been a very solution-oriented person. I'm not really a problem finder, more of a solution finder. So in my eyes, if I'm not part of the solution, I'm part of the problem. So I wanted to do it better for kids, for my own children I knew that I would have one day, and for other children in the world, like find a better way to do education. So that was my goal in going into teaching and what I've tried to grow with every year as an educator.
Wow, that's really nice. So when did you know that you were going to be a teacher?
I think I always knew. I was always the kid that asked for extra worksheets so I could go home and play school with my dolls. I think I just always knew that was just always my path. Like I was going to be an educator.
So can you please tell us more about your current title and role at Dripping Springs ISD?
Sure. So I'm in a relatively small school district. We are growing leaps and bounds. We are adding our 5th elementary campus this year. So I'm a GT specialist at the elementary level in my district. There are 2 of us. I service the west side of our district and the other specialist services the east side of our district. I teach kindergarten through 5th grade in what we call a pull-out program. So the gifted and talented students are in with their homeroom classes 4 days a week, and then 1 day a week they come to my classroom for their enrichment and extension activities based on their gifted and talented needs.
I'm sure like you come across a lot of advanced kids, and that's why when I was reading your bio, like you were saying you do more STEAM activities.
And it's nice because we have time in here. I have time to dive into kids' passions and interests and help sort of guide them to see new paths. And that's where coding and computer science kind of comes in, because some kids already have it and they want to just dive deeper, and some kids have no clue what I'm talking about. And so then we get that introduction and get them excited and learning about it. And you're right, I do see some of the brighter in some aspects or high ability students in some aspects, but being gifted generally means they have asynchronous development. So they might be really high in one area, say math or reading, and normal or not so high in another area. So we see lots of that asynchronous development. So I have to teach them how to balance stuff out so that they are well-rounded.
That's interesting stuff. So, what do you think about the computer science K-12 education system in our country?
I think that we're on the right track, right? I think that as a nation, we are starting to put it more in the forefront, but I think we're behind the power curve. I think our education system really needs to step up the pace with computer science teaching, starting from littles all the way up through, secondary education and higher education. More of an emphasis on it. I think there was like an interest in it a few years ago. Like it really caught fire. And then I think it's starting to kind of dwindle, which is sad to me because it's such an important part of our children's literacy. So I think that we have work to do.
So, what do you feel are typical challenges that are faced by teachers like you or schools that teaches computer science courses?
I would think the first one would be knowledge, right? It's very intimidating to be asked to teach computer science as an educator who didn't get taught computer science. And so teachers feel like I have to know what I'm talking about before I can teach it, which is so not true, especially with computer science. You have the ability to learn right along with your kids. So I think that that's a challenge a barrier we need to break through with teachers too, that you don't have to know everything to dive in and get started. You can learn as you go and the kids can help you, which they do for me all the time, because that's so important, right, for them too, to see that I am learning right along with them. So I think that's intimidating. And then I think that having enough curriculum and enough resources, I think that that's an area where we sort of lack, like in-depth resources for teachers to pull from, because every kid needs something different in their toolbox. One coding program is not going to fit all. So we need a toolbox full of resources for teachers to pull from, so that one kid might use this and really like it. One kid might want to write JavaScript. One kid wants Python. There needs to be some variety in there so that kids can expand. And then teachers too have just a plethora of resources to pull from. That helps build that confidence level from the educator standpoint.
At what age should we start teaching CS? Okay.
I mean, honestly, I believe, and only because I've done it and been the boots on the ground, I start at kindergarten. I pull kindergartners and we start coding at kindergarten. Of course, it's very basic, and some of that coding looks like not necessarily on a device. Some of that coding is like in the classroom. We have the 12 by 12 tiles, and sometimes we just code each other and we code the kids. Like, okay, I want to get from here to the trash can. Like, how would you send me? And teaching them how to think about those algorithms of, I need to move forward, I need to turn, I need to move forward again, I need to stop. Like all the things that have to go into that, like teaching the kids the actual physical aspect of coding, because it's more than just on the device at first. So that's important, I think, at kindergarten level. But even my kindergartners get into and do some drag and drop coding. So I think that starting early, just like we start reading skills and math skills at kindergarten, coding skills have to start there too.
How did you get started? What motivated you?
That's actually a funny question. Just a few years ago, when I moved to Dripping Springs ISD, I came from a district where we didn't code. I didn't have a clue what that meant. And I came here in 2014, and that was the buzzword of the year, was coding. And I needed to teach coding, and my kids were excited about coding. And I went home and I was like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know how to do that. How do you teach children to code? Where do I start? So I dove in, and again, like I said, I like to model that I'm a learner right along with my children. And I was very honest with them, like, we're going to do this together. We're going to learn together. We're going to go. Well, of course, you have some kids that are going to know more than you about anything. And I did, and we just learned together. We jumped in. We tried like hopscotch, and some kids were showing me at that time, we were using the Bee-Bot, the little robot that goes on the ground, and we started learning. I took some classes myself. I took like a code.org class, and just started learning and going. Then it became more of a group environment in the classroom. Instead of, I'm the instructor, you are the child, you will learn what I say. It was more of, hey, let's work this out and debug this together. And we kind of learned in group. And it's still that way today. Now, of course, there's some children I know more than at this point, but there's still children that know way more than I do and can get into these complex algorithms and debug these complex systems that then they go and, again, are teaching me, which I think is amazing. To me, it's cool for them to see too that I'm not the smartest person in the room. Like together, collectively, we are the smartest person in the room.
So, can you tell me, like, what would be the ideal kind of resources for a teacher like you to help teach computer science?
Ease of use, of course, something that's, and especially at elementary level, easy to get the kids into. Lots of programs you try to get in, there's so many steps involved in getting a student in and started. The least amount of steps possible, ease of use, user friendly. And then from a kid standpoint, in order for me to hook them, like they like the colors and the excitement and something familiar. It has to be, kid friendly as well. So that's helpful. But then again, that wide range of tools that I can put in the toolbox so that if this tool doesn't speak to this child, I can change it and try something else. So variety helps as well.
What did you see, like the benefits of teaching CS to K-12 students or
Wow.
elementary kids?
Wow. I could go on and on here. So you just stop me when you're ready for me to quit. It has been amazing. We already in the program that we have here with the kids that I pull out, we work a lot on logical processing and reasoning. And then once I added that computer science element to the program, like the whole process of computer science is logical processing and reasoning. So we've been able to take that and expound upon it, right? Then when you've got kids that are coding, another big belief of mine as an educator is I believe in an authentic audience. So when we do projects in class, I'm not the end all be all. I'm not going to be who really sees your work. We're going to publish your writing. We're going to invite community members in. We're going to do other things. So when we are encoding, the kids are using other kids to test out their work. So there's that built-in authentic audience and then that user empathy, right? They're having to learn how to, okay, I'm going to code a game, but if it's too difficult, nobody's going to want to play it. Or if it's too easy, nobody's going to want to play it. Like having to make it for others, not for themselves. And then teaching children, again, to not be just consumers. Because I think right now, especially in the digital age, a lot of our children are just watching. But teaching them how to produce material. So like create the games, create the apps, make something for others to use. And then, of course, that goes into a whole thing, too, about recording themselves to teach. Because there's so many kids right now that want to be like vloggers and on YouTube. That's a big thing. So like teaching them, like other kids don't know some of the skills in computer science. You could also not only create games, but you could create content, show and teach other kids how to do it online as well. And then, of course, I love the fact that technically coding is a whole nother language. And we really, in our nation, struggle with having bilingual, trilingual, where other nations are, more forward thinking in that. I think if we had a better computer system, like computer science curriculums, that would help some of our children add that bilingual piece to their repertoire, right? Like, and how amazing would that be? Like, oh yeah, well, I speak English, and hopefully they pick up another verbal language, linguistic language, but then I also speak Python, and I also speak, Java. Like, those are really cool multilingual aspects of computer science too.
Yep, yeah, I totally agree. That's really cool how you have put it. Like, and that could be the universal language, right? Everyone understands coding language, even though like some might be familiar with Python, some might be familiar with Scratch. Still, like the basic concepts are same. So, can you tell me any other challenges as a teacher that you face teaching computer science?
I think because it's not one of our like main components of like the core curriculums, math, reading, writing, it's seen as what comes secondary. So if I have time, I'll get to that. If there's not time in the classroom for that, we'll do just that 1 hour of code week and then that's it, like done. I think that's a big issue. I think time, like if we could just find a way to make it more of a core subject in our K-12 curriculums, then teachers you have to fit it in. You have to find a way, just like you fit in reading and writing, you would also find time to fit in a little piece of code so that the kids are more familiar with it. So I think time is a big piece.
So, if there is a magic pill to help enhance computer science in the entire K-12 education system, what would it do?
It would, I think it would make it just easier and approachable for teachers, for educators, and for students, because there are still students that are afraid when they hear the word code. They're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's so complicated. I don't know. Same with educators. I think just taking off that veil of the unknown and making it have ease of use, user friendly, and approachable. I think that would be the key factor in the whole thing.
This is very insightful for me, Carrie. Thank you so much. I know I went a little bit off the questions that I was going to ask, but based on what you're saying, like I really wanted to know your perspective on few things.
Well, good. I'm glad. And I know I was like, hopefully I didn't go too off of what you were asking me, but I get super excited about about computer science and coding just because I've seen what it does for kids and how I have, some students who maybe have a lower confidence level and then they get in there and they can show others what they know in coding. And it's just that boost of, I can do something well. Look how good I am at this and I can share this with the world. Like it's such a confidence boost for some kids.
Yeah. I mean, I truly admire you and for your courage and taking on this teaching computer science, though you might not have ever been exposed to, and making it as a group activity and realizing the benefits that this is giving to your students. And I can really see the passion. Like, I'm sure your students are very lucky to have you as a teacher. Thank you for changing and impacting so many lives. Thank you so much for being on our podcast as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.